So why don't we go ahead and get started? I will call to order with a virtual gavel the May 7th, 2020 COVID meeting of the Historic District Commission. So first on the agenda is call to order. Cindy, if you could please do roll call.
Leo?
Here.
Canarsa? Canarsa.
He's muted. He's here.
I'm here.
There you go.
There he is.
There I am.
Peterson.
Here.
Cobb.
Here.
Patterson. Patterson? I need to hear your pretty voice.
He's muted.
See his lips moving.
Kurt, can you unmute him?
I just did.
Okay. Peterson. I
Yeah.
mean, Patterson.
Here.
Davenport.
Here.
And Straker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes from the regular meeting on March 5th, which was the last time we met? If so, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
And who are you?
This is Nico,
Okay.
and I make a motion to approve the minutes from the, I don't remember what date that was.
March 5th.
The March 5th, 2020 Historic District Review Commission meeting.
Great.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Cobb second.
That was Cobb.
That was Peterson or Cobb?
Cobb.
Cobb. Okay.
We
All
have
in
to do a
favor-
roll call.
All in favor, please signify by saying yes individually. Leo,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
Canarsa. Canarsa.
It says I'm unmuted by host.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Straker is yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Are there any public comments? I doubt it. We'll move right into unfinished business. 234 Spear Street, window replacement and siding removal.
That was from the minutes?
Oh, sorry, 237 Butler Street.
Okay, this is, building was built in about 2000, or excuse me, 1920, according to our assessor's records. There have not been a lot of permits issued. What the applicant wants to do is install an additional window on the south side. And this is the packet. Could you put up the PowerPoint,
Yes.
please? Next page. Okay, built in about 1920, and the applicant wants to remove the awning, which we already gave administrative approval for, replace the door to the upstairs apartment, and add a window on the south side that matches the facade windows in height and division. Next. This is a picture of the door as it exists. Next. And this is the proposed replacement. It's kind of hard to see in this photo, but it does have the similar raised panels. I'm not sure what the material is. Maybe the applicant can answer that at the end. But let's look at the window, the next one. This is the wall where he proposes to put the window. And the next one. And that is the window superimposed on the wall, showing that it's the same height and with a bar across at the same height as the facade windows. And I think that's the end of this one, except we have the proposed motion there, or a potential motion.
And do we have the applicant on the line?
Yes, we do. I'm sorry. When I tried to announce myself before, I realized I had the mute on. So
No worries.
I'm kind of a rookie at this.
Yeah, we're all getting good at it, right?
Maybe someday.
Right. Is there anything, I'm sorry, if you could say your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Steve Lewis.
Hi, Steve. If you could add anything that wasn't already mentioned in the application in terms of what you'd like to do, that would be great.
Probably nothing other than the door. I mean, I can address each of those points. The door that's on there now is just, it's terrible. It's poor security. It's kind of warped. I think it looks bad. And we really like the old character of the building. My dad's owned it for a number of years, and we're trying to, make it look a little better. And again, that door is pretty bad. And then the other thing for the window, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to get more light into that space. And so we're trying to, the width and positioning of the window, we're trying to mirror that window that's above it. And then in terms of the bar and the height of it, is the one on the facade. So we're trying to make it look as good as possible.
Great. Thank you. What I'll do is we'll just go down the list and I'll ask each of you if you have any questions or clarifications for Steve. So we'll start at the bottom of my list with Jennifer. Do you have any comments or questions?
What's the material for the door and for the window?
I don't know.
I think we need to know that.
Okay.
It needs to probably, are the other windows wood?
The other windows, I don't think so. They were replaced some time ago. So I don't know. I don't know. And I would think that the door would have to be maybe steel because of a fire door, but I could be wrong. I'll find out from Mr. McKillips.
I think based on the fact that this is a contributing structure, correct?
Yes.
So there's a couple things to consider on the materials. One would be the material of the door that's on there right now, which it looks like it's wood.
Yes, it is.
So replacing like as, with pretty much what you're doing, you're asking to replace it almost in the exact same profile. I walked by, I don't believe that is an original door to the structure. I think it's old, but I don't believe it's probably original.
I would agree with that.
But if it's a like as door, it would need to be wood. A steel door is not something we would usually, or a fiberglass door, especially if it's not there now, is something we normally wouldn't approve.
Okay.
The profile is one of the most important things. And then as far as the window goes, if it's not a window that's already there that's being replaced in a contributing structure, we would just need you to follow our guidelines of window replacement in terms of that material, which we can probably put that in the motion, but before it would be finally approved, we would need for a spec sheet on that window that matches the requirements. But we can maybe talk about size and placement in the context of this meeting, if that makes sense to everyone.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for bringing those up, Jennifer. Anything else based on what I said before I move on?
No.
Okay. Peterson and Chris, any questions?
I think that's good to make sure that the door is replicated like the one that is there. The picture that shows of the window on the side, the picture actually looks like it's narrower. And I've been trying to listen. The width is supposed to be the same as in the front, right? That looks, maybe it's just,
No, I'm sorry. The width is supposed to be the same as the window above it.
oh,
The way the panels are laid out are supposed to mimic the window in the front.
okay.
Anything else, Chris?
No, I just got to think about that. Thanks.
John? Questions?
I do have a question, Steve. The door in the photo, the original door looks like it is a shaker door, as does, that's a flat panel, but Cindy mentioned that it's a raised panel. I'm just not seeing it in the photo. A raised panel seems like it would fit this building more than a flat panel. Do you know anything about that? Is there any detail around each rectangle?
Yeah, I don't know. And I'll tell you, I agree with the comment that all it shows up on for mine is Straker. So sorry if I don't have your first name. I too don't believe that that's an original door, and I'm not married to that style. If you all have some suggestions on what a more appropriate 1920s, 20s door would look like, I would be more than happy to entertain that. I think Mr. McKillop's just, said, hey, this is what we have on there today. I'll try to do it the same. But I'm in favor of anything that can beautify that building historically.
I'll jump in if you guys don't mind. I believe, and somebody can pile onto this. I believe what would have been there would have been close to a full light door. It probably would have been, it would have had light in it with perhaps a raised panel at the bottom. So imagine that bottom panel being there and the rest of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels being light is probably what was there originally, I would guess. I couldn't prove that. Similarly, on the side of the building, you can kind of see if you look where you're asking for the window to be placed, just for context, that's sort of an alleyway. If you can go to that side view. If you look back, you can kind of see the outline of a higher window, almost like a clear story, which is, I think, normally more typical on a commercial building that has sort of an alley, because you would have wanted to maximize the interior sort of retail space. I don't know that, I'm not suggesting that makes a difference in terms of what you want to do. I'm just to the point of maybe what would have been there or might be appropriate in both instances. That's just context or fodder.
Tim?
Yeah.
John here. Can you see my screen now? Does that help you describe that?
Can't see the screen.
You can't see my screen?
Oh, yeah,
No.
I can see it, John.
Well,
It's
no.
The
Well,
door like you're describing.
With the windows, with the glass?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be divided that way, but it has a raised panel at the bottom, and it's what Tim just described. Do you see it, Tim?
Yeah, I thought you were screen sharing. Yeah, I see.
Okay. Just wanted to give a frame of reference.
Correct, without the
If I
divider.
can.
Yeah. Okay, Vicky?
No, I didn't have any other comments beyond those that have already been brought up.
In here.
Okay,
Oh.
thank you. Keith?
Just one question on the transom window above the door. Is that going to be retained?
Excuse me, Keith, I'm
Is
sorry.
it? Are you able to hear me? This is Keith.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there's a transom window above the door. Will that be retained?
Oh, absolutely.
replaced?
Yes, absolutely. We love that window.
All right, and then on the side, is that going to be a fixed window? It appears it's just going to be a custom made with a style that goes across the middle. Is that correct?
Yeah, that style across the middle is intended to match. It's actually not a style on the front of the building, but
Right.
to match that bar to go across. Yes.
Yeah, I
that's
understand
correct.
that. I just didn't know if that was a fixed window, so it's
Oh,
not
I'm
going to
sorry.
be
Yes, it
functional.
is intended to be fixed, a non-operable
Okay.
window.
Okay. That's all I have, Tim.
Thank you, Keith. Nico, any questions or comments?
I just have a question regarding the awning.
Yes.
What does it look like underneath the awning? Do you have any pictures of that?
Nope.
Okay,
I've never seen it without it.
okay.
I just think it looks kind of hideous. So
Yeah, no, I agree. So you're not planning on replacing the awning at some point then?
no, I'm not.
Okay.
In fact, I've rewritten the lease for that building to restrict awnings.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
No other questions?
Okay, I would, to the conversation that's already been had, I would Actually, in this photo, if you look over to the right, I presume that's your door that goes into the store.
That's
kind
correct.
of what we're talking about as well. Personally, I would rather not see a solid door there. I would rather continue the glass of the facade because that's usually what was done. We can't prove that that's what's there. That's largely a historic opinion.
Yeah.
But I agree with John that the 6-panel sort of flat shaker door doesn't feel right. It feels too modern. But I know what you're trying to do, or your builder's trying to do. They're trying to replicate basically what's there. But if you
Right.
wanted to go like for like with what's there, it would need to be a wood raised panel door. I would prefer to see a glass kind of 3/4 door myself. I think that would enhance the facade. On the side, as it relates to the window, is it wood siding? I don't remember walking by what it was. Is that still wood siding, and is that original?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's either vinyl or aluminum. I'm not sure which.
Okay. Because normally it would give me heartburn to cut into original fabric, but in my mind it had been altered, even though it's a contributing structure. We're not cutting into original fabric, and I don't think there should be a window there from historic standpoint, but I don't think it hurts, is my personal opinion. Just based on how the building is sited and how the streetscape's used, I don't think you're ruining a front elevation by any means. So I'm okay with that as long as it complies, and we would put it in the motion, and you would need to follow up with Cindy to make sure you have the exact specs of what that window needs to be in terms of material, simulated divided light. There can't be any sort of sandwich grids. It can't be a vinyl window. Even if the rest of the windows are vinyl, this window can't be. It still needs to follow our guidelines.
Okay.
So just add that context to it.
Okay. Hey, Tim, one thing I appreciate those comments on the window. With respect to the door, if you can flip back to that one. That leads to an apartment, and there's a staircase right there that goes up. And just because it's a residence area, I would really like to not have glass and kind of the invitation that it. So I was telling the truth when I said I'd like some recommendations to make it more period, but I really wouldn't want to do that part of it. So if we could shape it, if it could still do panels, but if you want to do a bigger one on top and a small, just let me know, and I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I think the way this probably goes is you have the right to replace it as it is. So
Okay.
If you want to do that, I think for sure you can do that, would be my opinion. I do think where we come in is giving you the guidance on exactly what material and that profile needs to be to replicate what is there. So we can put that into motion and be very specific. And then if you need to follow up with Cindy with a sample to confirm that you're sort of complying with your purchase to what the application finally reads, that's great. Or maybe read the motion and the approval to your builder. And make sure he understands what we're talking about. But I think that's probably going to be fine based on a like as rule.
Okay.
Does anyone disagree with that?
This is Chris. I don't. I think that's great. I appreciate wanting to make it look the thing, and this is a little picky on my part, but I don't want to walk down the street and see steps with boots on them or a coat laying on there, something like that. I know that's really picky.
No, I agree with you, Chris.
Well, you could put a curtain up behind the window or something. So
Yeah.
And then it's going to partly fall. And
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. Does anyone else have other thoughts? If not, I tell you what, I can make a motion, right? Why don't I make the motion, since I think I already just said most of what probably need to put in it. I'd like to make a motion to approve with the following conditions at 237 Butler Street, the application to replace the door in the window, with the detail that the door will be replaced with a wood door like as in number of raised panels that are currently there in profile, not in the number and style that's presented in the application, which is a flat shaker style, not a raised panel style. And the applicant will confirm that spec with the city within as the application is approved. The second part of that motion is that the window follows the same requirement. The window will be in the proportions on the application, but of the quality and spec as required by our guidelines that can be found online or at City Hall with approval from Cindy prior to purchase and installation. Do I have a second?
Yep. Second, Chris.
That's Chris Peterson with a second. Is there any discussion or any other comments?
I just have one question on the window. We're talking about wood window with or without aluminum coat cladding?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I will do a roll call for approvals. Nico,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Straker is a yes. The motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. I think I've taken good notes. I will call Mr. McKellips tomorrow and pass those along. And anyway, thank you very much.
Hey, we appreciate you investing in the building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Now I'll try to figure out how to get out of here.
Right.
Should be a little red thing down on your lower right-hand side that says leave meeting.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Uh-huh.
Look at you, tech support. All right. Second application is 865 Holland Street. Do we have the applicant on the phone for this one or no?
Yes, can you hear us?
Hi there. Could you say your name?
Rosemary Johnson?
Hi, Rosemary.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us virtually for this little party.
You're welcome. Tim's here also. So,
Hey, Tim.
hi.
Okay. Cindy, would you like to give us an overview of this application?
This is a single-story duplex that was built in 1976, and it is non-contributing. So I did include the standards in your packet there for new construction. And what the applicant is requesting is to construct a new garage, 32 by something.
22 wide by 36.
32 by 36?
22 by 36.
22 by 36. Okay, and the plan is to use Anderson windows, from what I can tell,
That is correct.
and it does meet all the zoning requirements. So all they need is your review using the standards for new construction.
Okay. Tim or Rosemary, do you want to tell us anything else that's maybe not in the application? You don't have to, but just any details that you'd like to add to that?
No, it's going to be pretty much a garage, a standard garage, 22 by 36. It's going to meet all the zoning requirements. Right now, there's aluminum siding on the duplex. In the future, we'd like to remove the aluminum siding. But, you know, that's going to be in the future. And the garage is going, you know, the garage will, right now the garage is going to match the exterior, but it's not going to be aluminum, match the exterior of the duplex.
Okay. Why don't we start at the opposite end of the list for questions on this one? Nico, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Keith Patterson?
In terms of visibility from Holland Street, it appears it's mostly faced on Mill Street is the way that the plan view looks, right? So that it won't be that, there's a little bit of offset, but it'll be relatively obscured from Holland. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That's the only question I have.
A little less snow to shovel.
Vicky, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, just two. I'm curious. I think I read that you're planning on putting a metal roof on. So I guess I just wanted to know a little bit more about what the color of the metal roof was going to be. And I'm thinking about fit with the existing house. And then also I was curious about the garage door and what construction that was going to be and what color that would be.
Well, metal roof would be, it would be the galvanized, well, they call it galvalume now. And garage door would probably be white. I mean, we haven't picked out our colors, but it's not going to be anything that's going to be that much different than, it's going to be physically appealing. We haven't decided on what kind of a garage door, other than it's going to be an 18-foot garage door.
And the color of the roofing, you said galvanized, which makes me think kind of a silverish kind of color.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be silver. Now, I don't know how garish that's going to, because our plan eventually would, if we have to put another roof on the duplex, that would be metal. We're metal roof people, always have been. But that's a relatively new roof on the duplex. We could match it, but as I said, we are metal roof people. And we live next door, so if you want to know what the metal roof would look like, it would look very similar to the house next door on Mill Street.
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
The silver kind of doesn't sound good to me, but I'm just trying to picture it. But my questions were answered. Thank you, Tim.
Okay. John? You're muted, John.
Seems to keep going off. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
I have a question for you, Tim, first. This is very close to being contributing, but we can't really talk about that because, I mean, it's a mid-century looking structure to me. And it's what, 4 years away from being 50 years old? Am I correct in that?
Yes. I don't think it automatically becomes contributing at that point.
No? Okay.
We would have to rule on it being contributing if that was the case. But I understand your question.
It does seem like an example of mid-century architecture to me. And I was just wondering about that because then the roof and all that comes into play for me. But my question, aside from the material on the roof, I had the same one, was the overhang. Would the overhangs be the same as the house?
The overhangs are going to be identical to the house. Our intent is to make it appear as if the garage and the house were constructed at the same time. In fact, we were even thinking about how we were going to be able to get, since it has block walls on the duplex, we were hoping to have block walls on the garage. So it would look very, it would look somewhat timeless, like it was constructed at the same time. That's always been our intent whenever we've done anything.
Okay. John, any other questions or comments?
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's beyond our scope here, but to me, that roof doesn't fit that description. of what you just said. So,
I think what you're kind of referring to is the compatibility between structures. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but compatibility between materials and structures. So
yeah,
like a metal roof in and of itself is not bad. It's not prohibited in a historic district. It's the compatibility of one structure to another in terms of visual language from the street.
The pitch is going to be the same as on the house.
Okay.
It's a I think it's a 512 pitch. Yeah. I mean, if the objection is a metal roof, that you don't want a metal roof, well, we'll try and match the same shingles.
Yeah.
That I mean, but our eventually, we'd like to replace the roof on the duplex with the same material. But we certainly, our pockets are not deep enough to do it at this time. And nor is it really a responsible thing to do, because that roof is less than 4 years old.
Sure. Okay. I'll come back to that as well, but John, any other questions?
no.
Chris?
My first question was, do the neighbors know about this? But I guess that doesn't matter.
Yeah, the neighbors are aware.
Yeah.
I go back to Vicky's question about the garage doors. I think I would just like a little more detail in what they look like. And maybe, Tim, we don't have any ability to do that, but if there's a way to just get an idea of, is it going to be wood? Is it going to be plastic?
Oh, no, we're not. Oh, we're not raised panel door people. If that's what you're referring to. If you look at the garage door that we used on our house next door at 500 mil, we'd be interested in the same kind of.
Okay.
Material. I mean, if as far as an aluminum door, my goodness, there's the siding on the house, on the duplex, it's aluminum. So.
Okay.
Jennifer, do you have any questions or comments?
Comment. I don't have any problem with the metal roof. The pitches of the roofs are the same. You know, it's mostly tucked behind the house, which is from Holland Street. And I just don't think you're going to see it. I think that, they're going to replace the roof on the front house to match the garage eventually. And I think the application said something about replacing the siding with a similar siding from the garage. As far as color, we don't have any, it's not our, we don't have any say-so.
Right.
So the silver roof, if you can put a metal roof on, we don't have any say-so on the color of it. I mean, I've seen their house next door. I walked by there today, and it's, they've done nice work on their houses. And, yeah, I don't have any objection to any of it.
Okay, thank you. My only addition would be, can you flip back to the facade of the house? I don't mind metal roofs. If you can go to that one you were just on. Okay, thank you. I don't mind metal roofs. I think it looks nice on the existing house. I personally have a problem with the metal roof next to this structure. This structure is really cool. So it's not contributing, but that doesn't mean that we should make it more non-contributing. I think putting a metal roof on this house is, if that application were to happen in a few years, I would not be in favor of that, because I think that the architecture of the house is really cool, and it does not want like a farm look. It doesn't want a raised panel look. And even though it's non-contributing, I wouldn't be in favor of that. So I would prefer that the garage structure match the primary structure. And I think that roof not being metal would go a long way to do that, especially when you're taking such care to use the right materials. Like you're singing my song when you said you're not a raised panel person on the door, because if this was built in the, in the 70s, sort of a ranch style it could have had a raised panel, but it wouldn't have been ornate like so many garage doors are now. It would just have been just as likely to be flat all the way across and just sort of be discreet. So I'm worried that the garage with a metal roof would be disconnected and it would feel almost a little too blingy next to this house. So that's my own personal opinion on that. Does anyone else? Otherwise, I'm fine with the application. Does anyone else have anything else to add to that?
I would like to add that I don't have a problem with the metal roof.
Okay.
Either.
And actually, I know what you're saying, Tim, but I kind of would like to see the metal roof on that ranch style house. So
Okay.
that's the way it goes.
Well, that's what makes the world go round.
That's right.
All right. If there's no other conversation, we'll go ahead and I'll ask for a motion.
This is Chris. I move to approve with, I don't think we have any conditions. I move to approve the construction of a new garage at 865 Holland Street is submitted. The staff report and application are to be attached as part of the findings of fact.
All right. Do I have a second? Jennifer, thank you. Jennifer seconded. Any other discussion? I will call out that I don't think we ask about the man door, or it looks like a window. I don't think we asked about that or talked about that. Does anyone, unless it's in the application and I missed it?
I didn't have an issue.
Single hung Anderson windows.
Okay, and then what style of door? The man door.
The service door. We have, it would probably just be a raised panel door. I don't think we'd want a glass. I don't think we'd want glass in that door. It'd just be a regular service door, but it'd be raised panel. Six panel service door.
So I would just like to add into our motion somewhere that Tim or Rosemary, if you could make sure that you visit our guidelines online or go to City Hall to make sure that you're in the approval process, that door complies in material to staff approval of what is in our guidelines, as well as the window.
Do you want to make that a friendly amendment?
I'm sorry, Chris?
You want me to
Yeah, if you don't mind.
amendment or withdraw my motion?
No, can we just add that as an amendment?
I'm good with that.
Okay. That being said, we have a motion and a second. I will do a roll call for approval of the motion. Jennifer?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Nico?
Yes.
And Straker is a no. Motion passes.
What? Just kidding.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us for the meeting, and good luck with your project.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Tim, I do have a comment, not related to that last activity before we ring off, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The first presentation by Steve, it was really helpful to me to see those before and after pictures. Sometimes I really struggle to understand what someone's trying to do. And so I don't know if we can recommend that moving forward or something similar. It doesn't have to be exactly like that, but I just found it so much easier to understand exactly what they were trying to do the way they laid that out for us. I'd like to see that repeated if possible in the future.
Okay, that's good feedback. Thanks, Vicki. It is helpful to see that in that way. Do we have any administrative updates?
We do. I did approve the sign replacements and refacing at the chemical bank with their new name. They're going to be the same signs, the same location, same everything, except that we'll have a different copy. And I think I said that was 7 signs.
Did you say they're going to have a different name?
Yes, it was sold. I think the new name is TCF or TFC.
TFC.
I didn't know that.
What is this? Where was it?
This is the chemical bank. 249
Right.
Mason.
To be another bank?
It's going to be the same bank. It's just going to have a new name.
Okay.
Well, it's been sold, but whatever. So that's all I have on administrative approvals.
Okay. Any other communication or public comment?
No communication.
Is there any other comment from the commission? Yes, Chris.
I think finally this is my last meeting.
Ah,
I think we will then be moving on to, as my understanding is, not specifically to have a city council person on, as the chair has offered very nicely to come forward and visit with the city council at maybe once a month. So good.
okay. Okay, thank you so much for all you've done with us, Chris. We'll miss you.
Sure.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
And Cindy, I will work with you offline around our applicants for that seat in the process to fill that.
Yes, we were ready to schedule the interviews when the virus hit the fan.
Changed.
The world shifted.
I suppose we could still do that. Just forge ahead with this technology. I'm okay
We
with
could do
that.
it with this technology, or if there's only 4 of us in the room, we could do it in person. So I think sometimes that's helpful, but
Okay.
you decide. But we'll see what our governor decides.
How many candidates do we have that have expressed interest?
I think there were 3.
Excellent.
Monica keeps track of that, but it seems to me like there were 3.
Okay, anything else? We are adjourned then. Thanks so much, everyone. Appreciate you joining.
We need
Thanks,
to do a
Tim.
roll call.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Oh, we got to do a roll call.
We gotta do a roll call.
Nope.
All right. Do I do that?
Do you need a motion, Cindy?
It's helpful.
Oh, do I have a motion to adjourn the meetings?
Second.
Who made the motion
I did.
and the support?
I'll
Nobody
second.
wants to leave?
Straker.
Okay.
In favor of adjourning, signify by saying yes at roll call. Nico.
Yes.
Keith.
Yes.
Vicky.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Straker, yes. We are adjourned.
All right.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Sam.
Bye.
Everyone, bye-bye.